What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land and Google Plus land and over from my Facebook page, Picking Live? I appreciate you guys all joining me here today. I had a bunch of really good questions from my Facebook page that I haven't had the opportunity to answer. I know next week is going to be just complete chaos, and I'm not going to be able to really interact too much. And today I had a couple-hour window here where I can actually do this. So I thought, let's do it and see what happens. Don't really have anything planned other than answering those questions, then maybe answering some questions that you guys may or may not have. I know some of you posted some stuff on my Facebook page here in the last hour or so, some good questions, and hopefully I'll get to those too. But let's get started, I guess, to make it easy and simple here. We'll start with the first question that I got today from Sky Bryant. Sky's a big supporter over on my Facebook page, and I appreciate him. So let's get to his question. Got a question for you. If you answer it later on, no worries. Having a hard time really finding stuff around stores and such for Amazon. I'm finding some small return items such as $10 profit off of $50 spend and such. It just doesn't seem worth it to me at that price. What kind of profit margins do you go after, especially during the holidays? I understand the whole $5 profit on $20 on 20 of an item, but it doesn't make sense if you're shelling out $25 on the item. Hope that makes sense. Thanks for your answer. Well, Sky, that's a good question, and I think a lot of people probably struggle with that same very question. For me, and what I look for on my profit margin is probably, I think, the same for a lot of people. I'm trying to double my money as much as possible, but I kind of break it down for sales rank. If an item is ranked less than 10,000, if I can get a 60% return, I'm happy with it. So spend 10, make 6 profit. So a $16 payout. On an item that's ranked up to 30,000, I want at least an 80% return. So if I spend 10, I want an $18 payoff. Anything from 40,000 up to 100,000, I really want to get a 100% return on my money, just because those are the most susceptible for having people come back in and lower the price on them. So if it's a $10 spend, I want to make $10. Anything over 100,000 rank, it just depends on the feeling I get from the product. Like here recently, I bought a product that was 140,000 rank. Only one other FBA seller, and they were priced extremely high. So I came in. It was a $10 spend. Listed it at $35. The other FBA had it listed at $49.95. I listed mine at $35, where I was making basically $12 back on my money. And I came in with 25 of them just a couple days ago, and I'm sold out. So 140,000 rank, I sold out in 3 days of about 40 items. I'm happy with that. But it just really depends for me on sales rank. I think sales rank determines a lot about what I want to do as far as profit margin. I'm never, you can go out right now and you can buy those VTech watches that the kids are getting or whatever. And those right now, you can buy them at Walmart for $49 and get like a $60 payout, $65, $70 payout. So you're spending $50 to make $20, $25. They're right around 8 to 12,000 sales rank. But that's a big spend to make a small amount of profit. And those I've been passing on. I'm watching them. Maybe they'll tick back up here and it'll get closer to where I'm comfortable at them. But for me, it's all about sales rank and return on investment. If it's a small, and it also determines on how many I can buy. If I can only buy 1 or 2 of an item, I really want to try to double my money because of the work it takes to send in 1 or 2 items. If I can buy a shelf full of something, 20 or 30 of something, then I may go even a little bit less as far as what I'm wanting as sales rank. You know, I think those are probably the two biggest determining factors: sales rank and how many I can buy. You know, a lot of things you can go out and you can find, and you can, you know, there's tons of them right now that you can spend $20, $30 and make $5, $7, $8. But there's a lot of stuff out there right now that you can spend that same $20 and buy two of a $10 item and make, you know, $8 a piece on it, on something that's ranked 3,000 or 4,000. And that's more of what I'm trying to focus on, is the volume. Hope that answered your question, Sky. I appreciate your asking me questions. The next one comes from Barbara Doyle. I've answered this question for her already, but I thought it was a good question for everybody. I've been discussing Amazon FBA. She's a retired lady and trying to make some extra income, and I've been helping her out when I can, and suggested that she start off by reading Chris Green's book, and she seemed to really enjoy that. So the question she had is, from what I have read so far, the toy or the item I buy needs to be able to bring in 3 times as much on Amazon to make it profitable. For example, if I find a Fox Ambio for $12.99 and it's going on Amazon for $24.99, I shouldn't buy it. Sorry for the question. I know you're very busy. I promise this is my last. Not a problem. I like helping people. If you're starting out, you have a fixed amount of money that you can spend, I would probably pass on something like that. I'd probably pass on the Fox Ambio anyways, just because there's so many of them out there. But you know, put another item in there where you can spend 12 and it's going on Amazon for 24. Depending on the weight of the item, you may be able to make $6 or $7 on that. So if it's a $6 or $7 and it's a 5,000 rank, I might swing on it, but that's because my bankroll is bigger. And if your bankroll was, you know, 20 or 30,000 bucks, you can afford to absorb, you know, take a dollar loss here or 50-cent loss there if you have to get off of a product. But if you're working with $100 or $200 or $500 bankroll, every dollar you spend is important. And depending on what your bankroll is, the lower your bankroll, the closer you need to stay to that 3 times rule that Chris Green put in that book. But if your bankroll is bigger, you get a little bit more advanced, a little bit further along in your business, I'm not afraid to swing on an item where I can make $6 or $7 on a $12 spend if the rank is there, if I can buy in volume, just like I said before. But I think that answered your question. All right, let's go to the next one here. Joe Gonzalez. I answered this question for him too, but I thought it was another good question for you guys. He talks about how he's watched some of my videos and the success I've had has, you know, really got him thinking. And any advice for a beginner on FBA? How do you find pick items to buy? I tried Black Friday, but felt the profit margin was too low. Any tips? Excuse me. Black Friday I put too much effort into Black Friday myself. Just like anything, and I know this, and I had money to spend and I needed to spend it, so I tried to make Black Friday be more than it should be. But the Black Friday ads, they're in every Toy Mart or every Kmart, every Walmart, every Toys R Us, everything has the exact same stuff on sale. So everybody that's going out and buying is going out and buying those same products. And you've got people who go out and they buy 500 or 1,000 of an item. And if they can make $3 or $4 on them, they're making a good living. But for people like us who are probably a little bit less advanced, Black Friday can get frustrating because prices on those items drop quickly. It's usually the first person in the warehouse makes good money and the last person in the warehouse makes good money. But the guys in the middle, you're fighting over scraps. For Black Friday, the things that I did have success for were the things that weren't necessarily toys. I did real well on the Target comforters. They had the kids character comforters, and the Lego City and the NFL, and the Paw Patrol. All three of those I bought all I could find at the 4 Targets that I went to, and I ended up with about 25 of each one, or 20 of each one, something like that. And they were $20 a piece, and I sold out within a few days at anywhere from $60 to $90. So those all did very well, but people aren't necessarily thinking, well, I want to go buy a comforter during Black Friday. Other things that I did well on were things that weren't necessarily publicized. Like I did real well on the buy one, get one 50% off at Target on some items that were probably under the radar stuff. And I did well with those. But the things I did not do well on, or I have not done well to this point, some of them I'm still holding on to. The Gravedigger remote control at Target for $15. It was 60 when it started, and now I think it's down to like $32. And I only bought 5 of those, and I have all 5. And you know, that's a doorbuster, and it's probably going to sit a while before I end up selling it. I did well on the sand, the Connect sand at Target for $10. But the advice I would give to someone who was new, and I think that was more of your question than the Black Friday stuff that I kind of went into, but I would say start with something that's not so competitive. You know, there's a lot of places you can shop. You can go to Lowe's, you can go to Home Depot, you can go to Sears and different places. And there's a lot of categories on Amazon that aren't as competitive as toys. Right now, toys are super competitive. I mean, you've got 200, 300, 400 sellers on some products. And there's going to be someone in that group of 200 or 300 sellers who is going to drop the price. And it's just going to happen. But when you have, you know, an item with 10 FBA sellers or 7 FBA sellers, the price is a lot more likely to stay steady. And even if someone drops the price, not everyone's going to drop the price. When you have 200 sellers and 80 of them have repricers, obviously in the short term, those repricers are going to battle it down until there's no profit left. And if you can find products that your competition is lower, I think you're going to be better off. If I was starting out and I was telling someone who was starting out, I would say don't rely so much on sales rank, but look more at the number of sellers. Make sure it has a sales rank. Make sure it's sold in the past. Make sure it's profitable, but try to stay in stuff that's very low competition. Stay in stuff that has 10, 15 sellers, because you're going to be a lot better off starting out that way. You'll be able to build a bankroll. You'll be able to take a few hits when you've got to and move on. But there's a lot of categories that aren't as competitive as toys. And on Black Friday, if you're out hitting it, the stuff that's in the homewares, the stuff that's in electronics or home appliances, all of those are great places to start on Black Friday. All right. Wow. Selling stuff. All right. Sorry about that. Next question here. I am new to picking as a business. I know, or this is from Brittany McCormick. I'm new to picking as a business. I know how to spot good deals, but need to learn more about Amazon shipping and how to not lose money. Do you have any videos on this topic? I sold my first item on Amazon about 2 days ago. I bought it for $1.90 at a thrift store and sold it for $9.99 plus shipping of $5.99. My total shipping cost was $17.99. I lost money. I don't see how I can lower the cost of my product. I guess shipping. And she asked me this question, but I never really got to answer it for her. So Amazon shipping is interesting. You need to make sure you understand it before you really get too heavily involved. And it sounds like that's what you're trying to do, is trying to understand it a little bit more. For merchant fulfilled stuff, I really try to stay around first class or minimum or maximum a couple pounds when I'm doing merchant fulfilled stuff. I don't like to merchant fulfill big stuff. I don't like to merchant fulfill heavy stuff because I do better sending that into Amazon FBA because of the way the structure is set for their fees. You know, I've got some items right now, you know, I'm merchant fulfilling some video game stuff and, you know, a lot of smaller items that I can fit in a poly mailer or something like that, where I'm going to make profit off of the standard shipping on Amazon. I don't know how heavy this item was. Obviously, it had to be pretty heavy to be shipping at $17.99. But look at all, you know, if it's a first class, can it go first class instead of going priority? You know, we have UPS shipments picked up every day out the shop, so I'm always looking at UPS, make sure maybe I can save a few cents there. But just make sure you understand exactly what all the rules and, you know, the fees are so that you don't lose money on products. I mean, if you're buying a product for $1.90 at a thrift store and you're selling it on Amazon for basically $17 shipped, if you would have sent that into FBA, your fees would have probably been about $6 on that. So you'd have $7.90 and you're making, you know, $7-8 on your $1.90 investment. That's why I think FBA is such a better way to go than trying to merchant fulfill, especially when you're starting out. FBA is an awesome program. Their shipping rates are great. The fees are a little bit more, but when you look at it versus what you're going to pay in shipping and what you're going to make in the long run and how much time you're going to save by not doing all the shipping yourself, it's just amazing the amount of money that you can really make with FBA. But just know what's going on up front, and I think you're trying to do that. There's a lot of good literature on in Amazon Seller Help about their shipping regulations and how the fee structure is set up. But understanding exactly what's going on there is important. All right, let's see what's going on. If you guys have any questions over here, let me see if I can refresh this here. All right, not a whole lot of questions happening that I'm seeing. All right, let's go to my Facebook page and see the questions that you guys asked me earlier here. All right. If you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments here and I'll try to get to them here. But those were the 3 or 4 good questions that I've had come over the last week or so, and I'm going to go through a couple more here that were in the comment section on some of these videos that I post on my Facebook page. But let's get to the ones that you guys just recently asked me. Joshua Miles asks, do you have the ability to disperse at any time from Amazon, or are you on the 2-week disbursement? I'm on the 2-week disbursement. If you do have the ability, how does it affect your strategy? If you don't, is there anything you would do differently if you didn't have to wait for disbursements? I feel like this is a big advantage I have as a seller, and I want to take full advantage of it. I think it is it is an advantage because you can be a lot more nimble in the marketplace. If I haven't really I've only had one time where this 4th quarter where I ran out of my picking funds, and that was back before Black Friday. I sent my disbursements come on Thursdays and I get them on the following Monday. And I ran out on Saturday, I think. And so I didn't have money on Saturday or Sunday to spend on picking. And I got my disbursement on the Monday before Black Friday. But that's the only time I've really run out of capital, so it hasn't really affected me too much. But if I did have the ability to get it every time, I think I would be a lot more I don't want to say a lot more aggressive, because right now we're doing about $4,000 a day on Amazon, and if I was getting my disbursements, that'd be about $2,500 a day that I could spend. I don't really know if I would do a whole lot different, because it's not. I'm spending about that now. I think you can be a lot more aggressive probably if you're getting a disbursement the next day. But it doesn't really affect me until later in my payout cycle. So I don't think it would change anything that I'm doing currently. It may change stuff that I was doing in a week from now. You know, my next payout's going to be the Thursday before Christmas. So next Thursday will be my next payout. And if I was getting, I would probably be a lot more aggressive. I would probably, I don't know. That's a good question, and it's tough for me to say because I don't have that, and I've never had it for as long as I've sold on Amazon. So it's just kind of how my mind works on stuff. You know, I got X amount of dollars that I can spend, and I try to divide it up over the course of the 2 weeks before I get my next disbursement. And I've got enough money in savings where if I absolutely had to, I could, you know, go into savings. I haven't had to do that this fourth quarter. But I'm sure it would affect other people differently, especially people with smaller bankrolls. If I had a smaller bankroll and I knew that I could spend $60 on a product and I could sell it that night, merchant fulfilled, and it would be in my disbursement the next day, I'd probably, you know, buy a few more, you know, things, especially right before my payouts, and try to pad it so I knew I had extra. Because if I could spend 60 right now and I knew I was going to get, you know, 80 back in tomorrow, I would probably do that a little bit more. I'd probably take a little bit less margin, because I knew I was getting it right back, and that's something too, you know. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to say it is, you know, if I had, you know, say it's, you know, right now it's 8:30 at night, and I knew I was gonna get a disbursement tomorrow, and I know that I could go buy those VTech watches at Toys R Us for $49.95, and I know I could sell them right now as soon as I listed them for, you know, $70 payout, and I had an extra, you know, couple $100 in my pocket, I would probably go out and buy those and sell them and get it in my disbursement tomorrow. I think that's probably the only change that I'd really make. That was a roundabout answer to your question, but I think I got to it. I think I answered it. I think I answered it the way I would. Mike Oliver's still out spending money. He wants to know if there's going to be a playback. This will be on my YouTube channel, so if anybody wants to watch it again, it'll be there. If I were to switch from a basic account to a premium account at the middle of the month, do I have to pay for both, or when is the best time to switch? I don't know that. I would highly suggest you switch to a premium account, because the $50 that you're going to spend, if you're going into Amazon FBA or Amazon period and you're planning on selling less than 50 items, then you're probably not watching my YouTube channel or not watching my Facebook page, because there's huge opportunity. And if the opportunity is, I mean, if you're just wanting to spend, I'm sorry, I've got crap going on everywhere. If you're just wanting to sell, 30 or 40 items, then I don't think Amazon FBA is the place to be because the margins aren't enough. You can go on eBay and spend, your $60 or $100 on eBay and turn that into $600 or $700. But it's very hard to do that on Amazon, just because of the competitiveness and the way the fee structure is set up. It's easy to go on Amazon and spend $1,000 and make $500 to $700. Super easy. But I think if you're going into Amazon thinking, well, I'm just going to try this out and see how it happens, I think you're going to be well over 50 items real quick. So I would automatically go to a premium account. You want to go into something wanting to succeed. And if you're saying, well, I'm just going to try this out, well, go try eBay or go try Craigslist or have a garage sale, because those are a lot easier ways to make a good return on your investment, in my opinion. Sorry, guys, I got people sending me stuff. All right. Is there a way to search Amazon for items that are out of stock on? No, there's not. There's a way to search Amazon to find items that are not currently available on Amazon. Like, you can go into Amazon and you can search, like whatever, Paw Patrol, and down at the left-hand side, after you search Paw Patrol, you can hit include out of stock items, and then anything that doesn't have a price in it is something that is available somewhere that is currently not available on Amazon. What I think you're asking me, is there a way to search Amazon and find only the items that third-party sellers are selling? And there's no way to do that, not that I know of. If any of you guys have seen my Christmas list that I run through my program, it says right there if Amazon's in stock or out of stock. And if you had a large enough list, you could run through the program and find exactly, what items Amazon is currently out of stock on. But that's the only way I know how to do it. Joshua Miles asks, what is your strategy for Hallmark ornaments as Christmas approaches? Found some good ones on sale at a local drugstore. Debating how deep I should go this weekend to find more. What is the latest you want to arrive for FBA? I think that's a two-part question. First off, Hallmark ornaments. Hallmark ornaments are an interesting item. They sell real well leading up to Christmas, and then they fall off the map after Christmas. Last year's Hallmark ornaments you can buy after Christmas for very, very low money. Olivia ran across a deal March of last year, I think, and she bought all of a Hallmark store's leftover Hallmark ornaments for $2 a piece. And we held them, and we sell them down right now during Christmas, but they're only bringing $8 to $14. They're not, going up considerably. We're lucky if we're getting back up to retail on some of them. Profit, don't get me wrong, there's profit in them, but it's not a lot of profit. And on Hallmark ornaments, if they're not a first in series or a limited edition, after Christmas, they just collapse, from my experience. If I would, if they're profitable right now, I would buy them and merchant fulfill them because they're light. And if you have the ability, they're not a toy, so you should be able to merchant fulfill them through Amazon without a problem. And, whatever doesn't sell this year, hang on to, and next year they'll get back up to about retail. So if you're buying them for a quarter of retail or 30% of retail, I think you'd be fine to go as deep as you want. But Hallmarks, I'm probably not going to go and chase the after Christmas Hallmark deals this year. We bought some last year and they just haven't done a whole lot for us, so probably going to stay away from those. The next part of your question is, what is the latest you want them? Well, actually, I had a question that I wanted to answer that a guy sent me. May have been, yeah, here it is. No one posted on my Facebook page. Let me see if I can find it here. And it's kind of the same question. I keep hearing everyone say they're merchant fulfilling now because shipments won't make it to the warehouse in time. Then I keep hearing January is as good, if not better, than December. So my question is, Dallas, are you still FBAing, or are you a mix, or what? What I'm doing currently, and I'll tell you exactly what my schedule is, what I plan on doing from now until the day the baby comes. But for me, what I'm doing, excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat and I just can't get rid of it. What I'm doing right now is I go into a store, I go into a Walmart, I go into a Target, I go into a Toys R Us, and I buy 10 of, like today, I bought Barbie stuff. Barbie was 40% off. So I bought styling heads. So I go in and I list the styling heads on my phone, merchant fulfilled. So I'm going to go in on my phone through the Amazon seller app, and I'm going to, here, I'll just pull it up so I can show you exactly how it works. One second here. All right. So I go into the Amazon seller app. Let me get so I can see my actual mug here, so I make sure it's right. So I go into the, I don't know if you can, there we go. I go into the Amazon seller app, right? And right down here in the lower right hand corner, it says list. See that where it says list? And I hit the list button. And it spins for a second. And then it brings it up just like Seller Central. And you just go in and put in the quantity and the condition note and whatever price you want to sell it for. It even tells you what the lowest price right now. The lowest price on the Castles is $78.94 plus $5.99 shipping. Now you got to know what your shipping charges are, what you're going to be charging for shipping. Most of us have a standard $4.99 or $5.99 or $7.99 or whatever. So you'll know exactly where you need to price if you want to be the lowest or second lowest or third lowest. And then you just hit submit, and then it goes right in and it's listed. So everything that I buy, I list right on my phone as soon as I buy it at the store. Then I go out and I keep buying all day long, and I fill up my car. And all throughout the day, I'll be selling stuff merchant fulfilled. I'll be selling like Ice Castle, or I'll be selling an Amiibo, or I'll be selling a Chaos Skylander, or whatever. I'll be selling stuff all day long. And then when I go back out to the shop at night and drop off all the stuff that I bought during the day, I just pull out the stuff I sold, package it all up, ship it out to the customers. It takes me about an hour when I get back to the shop, depending on how many we have. And then I go home, and all through the night, that stuff just sits on Amazon. Some of it sells, some of it doesn't sell. And the end of the next day, I go in, or Olivia goes into the shop, and her and our employee, Michelle, package everything that didn't sell that night and put it into a plan and ship it out that day. And I will do that all the way until Tuesday of next week. So Saturday and Sunday, I'll go out. I'm going up to northern Arkansas, or southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, Mississippi. I'm going to do a big route, 2 days, and I'll buy that stuff, and I'll be listed on my phone the whole time. And then Monday, I'll come and I'll take it out to the shop and drop it off, and Michelle and Olivia will package it all up. What sold and what didn't sell will ship off to Amazon. And then Tuesday, I'll go out and I'll probably hit the Toys R Us. I've got 3 Toys R Us within a 50-mile radius of me. I'll hit the 3 Toys R Us, and I'll hit some Targets, whatever the sales that are going on. and I'll have get a shipment ready to go out on Tuesday. And then that's the last day that we will do merchant fulfilled. I will not merchant fulfill anything after Tuesday, which will be what, like the 16th, I think. Yeah, the 16th. I'm not going to merchant fulfill anything after Tuesday. I'm going to continue to buy. I'm going to continue to buy all the way past Christmas, and I'm going to ship in just like I normally do. I will ship in every single day like we do throughout the week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all the way, because after Christmas, people get gift cards and people will still want stuff. People are still buying stuff. There's not 10,000 people out buying, but there's 5,000, 10, there's a ton of people out buying still. So I want to make sure I have enough stuff in there, and I'll continue to buy toys, Christmas toys, all the way up till about the 10th of January. From about the 4th of January till the 10th of January, you'll start seeing stores start clearancing out all this leftover toy stuff. They won't clearance it out the week after Christmas, but the first week of the new year, second week of the new year, you'll see a lot of toy clearance. And I'll be buying all kinds of that stuff. And I'm not going to be buying it hoping to, obviously I want to sell it as soon as I can, but I'm going to be buying those name brands, the Star Wars, the Lego, all that type of stuff. And if I got to hold it until next Christmas, I'm okay with that. But I'm building up inventory because my inventory is down to like nothing. I mean, when we started in November, the real push for the fourth quarter, I had like 4,000 items in Amazon. And right now I have like 1,200. So my inventory is way down low. So I'm going to use that big clearance period after Christmas to fill up my inventory. And that's kind of what my plan is. So I'm going to ship. The last day I'm going to ship is on Tuesday, the 16th. Most of my stuff goes to Chattanooga. It's a 2-day trip. It leaves the 16th at night, gets to Chattanooga on the 18th, usually gets checked in the following day. So it's usually 3-4 days. So if I ship on the 16th, the stuff will get there by Friday, get checked in over that weekend, and it'll be available for 2-day shipping for Prime customers the 20th and 21st. I am not buying anything in huge volume. Most I'll buy of stuff is 15, so that it all goes to a normal disbursement warehouse and it doesn't go to a bulk warehouse where they ship it out to other places and I'll be back ordered. But I'm shipping all the way. A merchant fulfilling all the way to the 16th. I'll have a big shipment on Monday. I'll have a big shipment on Tuesday that'll get me through Christmas and hopefully through the first of the year. I'll continue to buy all the way past Christmas. There'll be some after Christmas sales, stuff like that. But this is the prime time to buy toys is right now. Throughout the year, you will not see these kind of sales on toys. I mean, you'll go into a Toys R Us and you're lucky if there's 3 things in the whole store on sale. You go into a Toys R Us right now, the whole damn store's on sale. So buying right now, looking to the future, is another strategy that I'm using. It's worked well for me this year, and I'm sure I'll continue to do it. But I'm not going to buy stuff that's trendy. I'm not going to buy your live pets. I'm not going to be buying Zoomer dogs. I'm not going to be buying dinos, all that type of stuff, unless it becomes profitable now. But right now, most of that stuff's not enough profitable. Some of the cage birds are, and I've got about 25 of the twin pack birds that the price just hasn't really jumped like I thought it would. I think it's at like $62. I bought a ton at $24.95, so I mean I'm not going to get hurt, so I'm at $62. But I think if I hold out another week and if they don't jump another 10 or 15 bucks, then I'll just sell them. But you know, there's a lot of different opportunities right now that you're not going to have in March, April, May, June, when toys aren't on sale. I mean, you'll get some clearance stuff, you'll get some Lego clearance stuff, stuff like that, but not like toys are right now. I mean, you know, 40% off Barbie, you know, you're not going to get that throughout the year at any time. So Amazon goes out of stock all year long on different stuff, and I'm not afraid to hold it until next Christmas, especially on stuff that I know is not going to be available next year. That was that's a name brand, Barbie, you know, not necessarily Hot Wheel, but you know, Barbie, Nerf guns, Lego. Probably not going to buy Monster High this year. I think that's probably a dying brand a little bit, especially with the new ones that they came out with. I think those ones look a lot better than the older ones. But you know, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, you know, you're not going to get buy one get one 50% off on Ninja Turtles any other time until next year probably. And taking advantage of those opportunities now, if you have the capital available, is a good thing to do. I'm not going to be buying the Kinetic Sand. I may buy some of the Toys R Us exclusive stuff, but you know, another thing, you know, you got to remember also these refills and different stuff like that. You know, the Easy Bake Oven refills and all that type of stuff. People are going to want that all throughout the year, and a lot of places don't carry that. So if you can go in, and right now those Easy Bake Oven refills at Toys R Us are buy two for $8. You know, if you can go in and buy a big quantity of those and sit on them for 3 or 4 or 5 months, everybody's going to run out of those things, and people are still going to want them. So just stuff to think about. All right, let's see. Well, we got an eBay question. So, hey, Dallas, another question for you. I watched your video the other day. You went out picking clothes. Where's the best place to sell clothes? Is it eBay? Thanks in advance. Absolutely. But look at some other places too. There's a website called Thrift Up, I think, something like that. Threads Up, something like that. That's pretty good. And, you know, if you're getting some vintage stuff, Etsy's, you know, a good spot to kick off on some clothing. I don't sell a ton of clothing just because of it's time consuming to list, but there's opportunities in it. And if you want to learn more about clothing, there's some great people on YouTube, Rake and Profit and Ronnie at Hertz Motor Company are two people that come to mind that I really think do a good job of explaining how to sell clothing. All right. Let's see. I had another question come in here from one of you guys watching out there. We got Brittany. What is your take on a good profit margin? Also, how do you list a product that is not listed on Amazon already? Profit margin I already went over. When I'm looking at profit margin, it just depends on three things for me. First off, what's my return on investment? Am I, you know, and I think that's where a lot of people start and stop is, you know, am I making 100% of my money? Am I making 150% of my money? But for me, I go a little bit deeper than that. I look at sales rank, and that really determines on what kind of profit margin I'm willing to take. If it's a 10,000 ranked item, you know, I'll probably take a 60% profit margin. If it's a 40,000 ranked item, I probably want a little bit more, maybe 70, 80%. If it's a 100,000 ranked item, I want 100% return. If it's above that, then I'm looking at the product and trying to figure out, is this a product that's going to sell regularly? Why isn't it currently selling at a lower sales rank? Is it a price issue? Is it a inventory issue? Is it not been in stock for a long time? Once you get over 100,000, it's really, you're going to need to look at the tools that are available to you. Look at the Camel. Look at the Keepa, and really determine why that product is at 140,000 or 150,000 rank. Is it because the price is $50 and you can buy it in the store for $5? Well, if that's the case, maybe a lower price point. Maybe if you come in at $29.95 or $35, and it'll bring that sales rank down. You know, if it hasn't sold in a long time, well, maybe someone just came back in stock on this product, and that's the reason the rank's 180,000. Maybe they weren't in stock for 3 weeks, and now someone's in stock and it's going to sell, and that rank's going to come back down. So those are the things you want to check out, and you know, Camel, and Keepa are great for those. How do you list items that currently aren't in the Amazon catalog? I could do a whole video on that, because it's easy to do, but it's hard to do correctly. You want to make sure that you have a good quality photograph, completely white background. Don't take a picture of a product, you know, on your bedspread or you know, in the back of your pickup truck. You see a lot of that this time of year, and it's just not good. Probably would be easiest. Maybe I'll do a video of that after Christmas on exactly how we list a product from start to finish on Amazon, because you really want to start looking at things like keywords. You really want to start thinking about things like how your pictures are going to be displayed, what pictures you want to use, where you can get pictures from products that are currently available. You know, there's a lot of different things that go into making a good quality listing. But I'll do a video on that. I think it'd be easier than trying to explain it just by looking at you and not really showing you. But if I do a video, you'll understand it. But I think that's a great place. I know, Brittany, you're just starting out on Amazon. I think starting out with creating your own listings is a great way to start. A lot of people say that it's not, because you're not going to get a feel of, you know, what's going on in the marketplace. But I think if you can go out into your local area and you can find products that are currently not on the Amazon catalog that you can bring to the Amazon catalog, that's just as good as going out and having a product developed in China or, you know, Southeast Asia and bringing it into the United States as a private label product. Because for a short window of time, you're going to be the only seller on that product. So it's going to be like your product, like you made it. And you can develop a product line just by going out and finding local products that are currently not listed on Amazon. Some of our best products that we're selling right now in our grocery category are products that were not on Amazon, that are local companies here in my area. One of them is a barbecue spice rub that we're selling on Amazon. We sell it in a single, we sell it in a 4-pack, and we sell it in a case quantity of 12. We're the only ones selling those products, but we've gone on and we've set up a Facebook page for that product. We've gone out and done some Google marketing. We've gone out and we've done some Amazon ads, and we've really built up a small customer base that continues to come back. And now we're selling, I don't know, probably $1,500 to $2,000 a month of this product, just like it's our own product. And we've even gotten to a point where now we're contacting the company directly, and we're buying our products directly from them, and they know exactly what's going on. And we're working on getting an exclusive agreement so that we can be the only person that can sell that product on Amazon. So it really will be our only product, our own product. And if someone else comes in on that product, we have it in writing from the company saying that we are the exclusive rights holders to this product for Amazon. You know, but you can worry about that later once your product gets started to sell. And that's really what we did. Is we went out, we spent zero money setting up a Facebook page. We spent very little money doing Amazon advertising, and we spent very little money doing Google ads. But all of those built up a small customer base, where now we have about 1,300 people on a Facebook page that we're interacting with, that are going to Amazon. And you know, when we post on our Facebook page for this product, it goes to all of their friends and family, and they see it. And you know, it's really starting to take off and build something. We're working on another one with a company right now that's a local company that does jams and jellies. Currently, they're bottling their product in a glass bottle, and we can't ship it to Amazon in a glass bottle. But we've been selling this product merchant fulfilled, and it's been doing decently for a merchant fulfilled product. But we've contacted the people who make it, who are about 15 miles up the road from where our shop is, and said, "Hey, what's the chances of getting this in a plastic bottle?" And they said, "Well, let's look into this." And so I've gone out and I've found a company that'll make exactly the same bottle that they have in glass, but make it in plastic. And if I get it in plastic, then I can ship it to Amazon FBA. And if they're making those specifically for us, no one else can buy it in a plastic bottle. So no one else can get it into Amazon FBA. And it's, again, just like my product. I just created a private label without having to go to China, without having to develop my own product. And I think that's a great way to get started with Amazon. You know, the toys this time of year is fabulous. And throughout the year, toys sell and normal products sell throughout the year. But if you can develop 10, 15 products where you're one of only 1 or 2 sellers that you sell 3 or 4 times a day that make you $10, you know, $10 profit, that's a good living. And then when the fourth quarter comes along, you have the bankroll to be able to go out and really hit it hard and do the business that you want to do. I hope that answered your question. Let's see. Let's go to Facebook and see. All right. We got any questions over here? All right. We got Callie Picker in the house. I need to get a hold of you and schedule up a time where we can talk a little bit. I'll get a hold of you here after I get off this, and maybe we can set it up here quick like. Martin Blake, do you think all of these picker videos are hurting prices? I think a lot of people have the mentality of cowboys who said there's enough buffalo for everyone. I don't know. Martin, I think it's a valid question. Obviously, the more people who sell on different marketplaces and are selling the products that you're selling, it's obviously going to hurt your business. But also, to that vein, there are millions and millions of people who shop every day on Amazon. And most products only have 200 or 300 sellers. A heavily populated product only has 200 or 300 sellers. There's like 7,000 Walmarts in the country, and there's like 4,000 Targets, and I don't know if those numbers are even close to being accurate, but there's a lot of retailers that are competing for brick and mortar business. And there's a lot less of people who are competing for a lot larger pie online, like on Amazon. I think there's 2 ways to look at it. Yeah, there's a lot of picking videos, and a lot of them have the same stuff in them. And most of that stuff is stuff that I probably wouldn't buy anyways. I'm not going to go out and buy a polo t-shirt, or I'm not going to go out and buy a coffee mug, or I'm not going to go out and buy whatever. I'm looking for things that are unique, that are different, that set me apart. The only time that I really go out and compete with the masses is during the fourth quarter with toys. Every other time during the year, I'm really trying to find my own niche. I'm trying to find products that are, you know, smaller market. You know, just look at like my vintage photo business. You know, we're going to do about $50,000 this year on just vintage photos. And no one can compete with me on the vintage photos. Yeah, they can come in and lower the price, but every individual image is completely different. So you may be able to go find 10,000 images or 100,000 images and put them on eBay for 99 cents. And I'm sure it would hurt my business in some way. But if you have crappy images, no one's going to buy them. And I think that finding things that set you apart, things that are different. Don't go where everyone else is going. You know, I see a lot of people on YouTube right now posting videos about blazers and coat jackets and different stuff. You know, it's the same thing. You know, the ones that are readily available, the ones you can go find every day, those ones are going to get hurt. But the ones that are hard to find, the ones that, you know, the expensive ones that are selling for good money, those are always going to be good because they're harder to find. And if you can, you know, set your business plan into these markets that are harder to find, stay away from the markets that are saturated. I don't think picking videos or the number of people who are making them is hurting anybody's business other than the same people that are selling those same things. You know, if, you know, you look at it, someone makes a video about coffee mugs and Starbucks mugs. Well, everyone goes out and looks for Starbucks mugs. Well, then Starbucks mugs come down. Yeah, that hurts the business. But I'm not going to go out and look for Starbucks mugs because that's not what my business model is. That's not what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to find things that are different, things that set me apart, that I can do what I want to do. For me, the things I look for, every image is different. That's why my vintage photo business works. They're easy to list. They're easy to ship. They don't break. People don't return them. You know, all those things are what I'm looking for when I'm looking for something like that. You know, I'm selling them for $4 or $5 a piece, and people buy 10, 15, 20, 30 of them at a time. They're happy, they come back. They're happy, they come back. They're happy, they come back. And every image is different. I'm not competing with some guy who's got, you know, a green polo shirt when I'm selling my green polo shirt. You know, if I've got an extra large green polo shirt and this guy has an extra large green polo shirt, the only thing that sets those two things apart is price. So obviously that's going to hurt the business. But if you have a green polo shirt, you take excellent pictures, you're very professional, you note every defect, you build a customer base, well, maybe you can get $3 or $4 more than that guy who just takes a crappy photo of it against a brick wall and, you know, has 89% feedback. But there's always going to be someone who's willing to sell it for less. And eBay is like a garage sale. People are on there looking for the lowest price. And especially people who are, you know, you've got established people who buy on eBay all the time. They're a little more likely to look at the whole listing. They're a little more likely to look at your feedback. But the new guy with 10 feedback, he doesn't care who it is. He just wants the cheapest price. So I think that's where picking videos and people all chasing the same $10 bill becomes a problem. But if you're really going in your own direction, you're getting your own thing going, and you're like, I'm going to start a Facebook page. I'm going to build an audience. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That's the guy who's going to set himself apart, and that's the guy that's going to be successful. The guy who's sitting in his garage saying, well, I'll just throw this up on eBay and it'll sell. I'll just lower the price until it sells. That's the guy who's going to have problems down the road. And building a customer base is very important for anything you're doing. Just like I said with Amazon and FBA, with those two products that I talked about earlier, the Spice Rub and the jellies, you know, going my own direction. I'm not going out and chasing that same $5 bill everyone else is chasing. I'm finding my own way. And I think that's, at some point, everyone who does picking figures that out. When you start out, sure, you're going to go watch Rake and Profit videos, and you're going to go watch my videos and whoever else's videos. And you're going to say, oh, yeah. And you're going to go on eBay and you're going to search, you know, tweed jacket. And you're going to, oh, yeah, they sell for this much money. And you're going to go out to Goodwill and you're going to try to find it. But at some point, you're going to figure out, well, yeah, I can keep chasing this same $10 bill down the road, or I can, you know, draw my own path in the ground and figure out my own way I want to go, and maybe figure out my own product. Maybe if I sell a tweed jacket with a white dress shirt and a tie and a whole ensemble, I can get more money than if I just sold it as a white t-shirt or whatever. You got to find your own path. Vlogs Review wants a shout out. So what's up, Vlogs Review? I don't know who that is. If mostly thrifting, is it best to stick with eBay and auctions? I think it's great to stick with eBay, but I would not go with auctions. I think if you're mostly thrifting, auctions become a problem because you've got to have two people who want it. And normally on eBay, there's more than one of them out there. So if you've got, I know I'm harping on polo shirts, and I don't know why. It just comes to my mind. But, if you've got a green polo shirt and you run it at auction for $9.99, it's going to sell at $9.99. But if you have a green polo shirt and you do a real good listing and you take all the measurements and you note every single defect and you just knock it out of the park, it looks classy. You got it on a mannequin, it's looking sharp. You got it down to the, right down to it. It's looking good. And you do that as a buy it now at $19.99, someone's going to come along and buy it. But you do that same thing and you run it at auction at $9.99, it's probably going to sell for $9.99 or $11.99. It may go up one bid or something, but you really got to have two people who want something to make an auction go. And usually someone who's looking at something, that's common, something that you can buy all of the time, they'll just wait for the next one. So I would highly suggest, if you're, just getting started or you're just mostly thrifting, do eBay, but do fixed price or best offer. And price your stuff high and be proud of it, and take pride in your listings, take pride in your photographs. And once you get those two things down, start building that audience. Start going out to Facebook and start really building it. The neat thing about eBay, with everybody who buys something from you, you get their email address, and you can market to them, and you can say, hey, you bought a polo shirt from me 3 months ago. Guess what? I've got 5 more in that size that are just waiting for you. And once you start building a customer base and you're really starting to market to them, it's just amazing how quick once you got little niches, just keep finding little niches. For some people, maybe it's vintage lighters or World War II memorabilia, but try to find things that are different. Don't go for the same stuff. Maybe you want to be the wacky alarm clock guy, or whatever. One of my favorite YouTube people, he does a video almost every day, and every time I look at it, it hardly has any views, and I don't understand why. But the 1 to 50K challenge dealer over there, he does these videos where he just kind of talks to the camera like I'm doing, but he records it, and it just kind of tells you about his business. And that guy found a niche, these cameras. And he buys these cameras and he breaks them down. He sells the lens, he sells the body, he sells the camera bag, he sells the the filters, the batteries, the film. He sells it all, but it's all focused on those cameras. And he's built a customer base. And they, if you want a Canon camera, you go to that Canon guy. That's his eBay store. And he's really built an audience. And I think if people look at more people like that, those are the guys that I listen to. Those are the guys I watch. I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos, but I make it a point to watch his videos, and they're about 30 minutes long. And I'll sit there right before I go to bed and I'll listen to him, because the guy's sharp. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. And there's, like I said, I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos. I don't know who's out there. I don't know who's popular. I don't know who's cool. But that guy knows what he's doing, and I think a lot more. You'd be a lot better off if you went and listened to that dude. All right. I'm in a similar situation, only selling on eBay one-of-a-kind items. Not sure when to switch to Amazon, because always try auction first. Not sure of what the market will allow on thrift items. I think there's a huge opportunity on Amazon for used appliances, used stuff. it takes, it takes time. You got to sterilize those things. You got to make sure all the parts are there. You got to make sure everything's working. But I bought this off of Amazon. It's a used projector. I bought it on Amazon a while back. FBA. So I knew I was going to get it. I knew if it didn't work, I could send it back with no questions asked. And I got it. Worked great. Very happy. And I think I paid like probably $20, $30 more than I could have got it for on Amazon or for on eBay. But I know that I have peace of mind. And I think that if someone really wanted to go out there and really wanted to, nail a market right now, I think the market that could really be nailed on Amazon is selling used appliances, houseware appliances that you can buy at thrift stores. Your coffee makers and your blenders and all that type of stuff. If you really got to know that market and know what you got, what needs to be, and everything, I think you could really kill it on there on thrifted items. Other things that I think do well on Amazon from thrift stores that I've done well on, obviously used media, old media, new media, like sealed 8mm tapes and used video games, used books, all those things do well. Big competition. But I think if you went out there and you said, I'm really going to focus my energy on learning about, these home appliances, learning about electronics, and selling them on Amazon through FBA, I think someone can make a load. And I know you can buy a lot of these electronics wholesale by the pallet, and you don't know what you're really getting. But I think there's huge opportunities if someone really wanted to put in the effort and really do something with it. All right, I got a couple more questions here. Got a lot of stuff going on here. Brittany's back. Is there an easy way to edit photos on a white background? I'm horrible with Photoshop. There's one called Background Burner, I think it's called. Pretty easy to use. Used to be free, but I think they charge now. But I've used that. There's a couple other ones. I'm sure someone out there in the comments can lead you in the right direction on that. I've used the Background Burner a few times. I use Photoshop, and I also my VA does a lot of photo editing for us too, and she's pretty good at it. All right, let's see if we got any more. Look, we got Cody Hawk in the house. Oh, and Rake Profit. We got both of them. Jeez, talk about a group of esteemed YouTubers right there. All right, looks like we got a bunch of questions here. Bunch of stuff came in. All right. Aren't there a million spice rubs selling on Amazon? What makes yours sell? The story. I mean, everything in life anymore, you have to have a story. And this spice rub has a great story. And, it's the guys won like every prestigious barbecue championship in the country. And, it has a really good story, and it's something that you can really latch onto. And I think I think everything. I mean, you look at anything that's selling right now. You look at Coca-Cola, you look at Pepsi, you look at Lego, you look at all these major brands. All of them have great stories behind every product that they sell. And anymore, story is what makes stuff happen. And with the social media age, you can get that story out there to the masses. And that's really what you've got to do, is you've got to get the story out there. I don't care if you're selling vintage photographs on eBay or vintage t-shirts or whatever. There's a story behind it. And if you get that story out there to those people who are watching YouTube videos, or you get that to the people who are going to your eBay channel or eBay store, harp on that story, build that story. That's what sells stuff, the story. You can have the worst product in the world, and if you've got a good story, it's going to sell. I mean, look at pet rocks, back in the 70s. Why did those sell? Those sold because of a story, the story. And if you can build a story behind a product, you can really do something with it. And that's what the whole social media is for. Everyone can put their story out there. And when I say everyone, I mean every product. So, if you're selling a spice rub, or you're selling a jelly, or you're selling whatever, before you get involved in it, obviously there's tons of products on Amazon. And the only thing that's going to set something apart is the story. And if they don't know the story, well, it doesn't matter. It's just another spice rub. But if you can, you've got 5 pictures there on Amazon. And if you can use those 5 pictures to kind of tell a little bit of the story, and you can use your bullet points to tell a few more points of the story, people are going to get interested. And then you go to your Facebook page, and you've got a Facebook page for this spice rub, and then you can really tell the story in depth, and you can get people engaged with what's going on, and they get sold a story. And then their friends and family see the story, and it's viral. We live in a viral world anymore, but you've got to have a story. Stuff just doesn't go viral. You've got to have a story. And just like any product, you've got to have a story. Mr. Sadie, 1, 2, 3. What's going on, man? Thanks for coming in, bud. I appreciate it. All right. Louis the Seller, happy holiday, Dallas. I'm planning to be 90% Amazon FBA, 5% eBay in 2015, mainly because of the freedom that FBA allows you to have. In your opinion, is that a good move or not? I think that's too heavy of a mix into Amazon, especially if you don't have a large bankroll. Amazon, you're going to live and die on your 50 or 60% margins. So if you need to make $7,000 a month, you've really got to have $14,000 or $15,000 every month that you can invest, because that's where the vast majority of stuff that sells in that profit margin of 50 to 60%. Yeah, there's more that, there's stuff that sells for a lot more, and there's stuff that sells for a lot less. But the vast majority of that stuff in that 50 or 60% profit margin. So if you've got, $15,000, $20,000 you can invest, and you need to make, $7,000 to $10,000 a month, yeah, you can do it with a 95% on Amazon. But I think the key is to find a product, like with our pictures on eBay. Find a product that's easy to list. Like I said before, with our photographs, we really only got to go in and change a few things, and we can list 100, 200, 300 a day, just depending on what we have. But find a product like that. Maybe it's postcards, or maybe it's ephemera, or maybe it's, whatever. I mean, there's lots of different things that you can list quickly, and make that a small part of it. Make that 10 or 20% of your business. And then, if you're like me, you enjoy to go out and hit thrift stores. I like going out and hitting thrift stores. I like going out and seeing what I can find. And you're going to get a lot more big whacks going into a thrift store. You can find stuff in thrift stores that you can buy for $5, $10 and make into $100, $200. And, you do that 10, 15 times a month. You've got a steady income with, like I have with my photos, where I'm making, some money, and start, I've got a big enough bankroll now where I could probably get away with, 95% Amazon FBA. But I really enjoy eBay, and I think eBay is a great opportunity. It's just a lot more work. And if you're, looking for more freedom that allow you to do other things, just make sure you have a big enough bankroll to make sure that you can support yourself with what you're going to make. I mean, if you're going out there with $5,000 and you can live on $2,500 a month, well, then Amazon FBA is probably perfect for you. For me, I've got a lot bigger bills. I've got a shop with a mortgage on it. I got a house with a mortgage on it. Fortunately, both of my vehicles are now paid off. But I got health insurance. I've got, 2 employees. I've got a baby coming. I've got a lot of different bills that I've got to pay, and I've got to have a decent amount of income. And eBay with a mix of Amazon. I think right now we're about 70-30 between Amazon and eBay, but my phone is just going crazy. We're about 70 or 30 between Amazon and eBay as far as what our income is. But the amount we spend to make that 30% on eBay is significantly less than the amount we spend to make the 70% we're making on Amazon. All right, would a company do that? Couldn't they make Amazon their only distributor? This is referring to becoming a company's distributor. Most companies want to be. They don't want to be a salesperson. They have a sales team that goes out and sells. Especially in grocery. But Hasbro isn't sell. Some companies sell directly on Amazon, but their business model is set up to sell to stores that sell to people. And local companies, sell to local stores. Like the jam and jelly company that we're talking to. They just sell within about 150-mile radius of where I live, and they have a small company. It's been around for about 123 years, and they have no interest in going national. They have no interest in that, but they have interest in selling more products, and I have interest in selling them on Amazon. And if I can come together with an agreement where I pay for the plastic containers, they put their stuff in the plastic containers, and then sell me the product at a slightly reduced rate because they're not having to use their glass containers, it's a win-win for everybody. And that's really what companies want, is a win-win for everybody. They don't want to go on to Amazon. They don't want to have to deal with shipping stuff to Amazon and labeling products and doing 4-packs and 6-packs and all this stuff. They just want to make their jelly. They just want to make their spice rub, and they want someone else to deal with that. And that's what I'm there for. All right, speaking so much truth. All right, let's see if we got any more here. I've been on here for about an hour. I wanted to kind of jump off about an hour mark, but Caesar's Palace, what's up, Dallas? Good to see you, buddy. Great info. Keep them coming. I think that's really probably. All right, let's go check on Facebook and see if we've got anything over there. Guys, I think there's huge opportunities wherever you want to sell. I don't care if you want to sell on eBay, you want to sell on Amazon, you want to sell on Etsy, you want to sell on 11 Main, you want to sell on your own website, you want to sell wherever. But what it all boils down to, other than on Amazon, where Amazon really, unless you're the only seller on a product, it's tough to put your story in there. You can have a little bit of a story or whatever, but it's tough to really have a story on Amazon. But on eBay, they encourage you to have a story. On Etsy, they encourage you to have a story. On 11 Main, they encourage you to have a story. All of these things want your story out there front and center. And by creating a Facebook page, by going in and making sure that you have all of your information on eBay with your story, you're really going to start building an audience. You have a store and you have products, but you have a story and why you go out and buy these. Maybe you're a single mother who's trying to support her family, or maybe you're a senior citizen who wants to make a little bit of extra income, or maybe you're a guy like me who's trying to build an empire. But we all have a story, and your customers want to get behind that story. You just have to give them it to them. You have to say, hey, this is my story. This is what's going on with me. Help me. And people want to. They want to get in front of you. They want to help you. People want to help other people succeed. That's the greatest thing about where we live and the time that we live in. is that people honestly want to see people succeed. And I think that's why a lot of you go over to my Facebook page, because you want to see if I can succeed. And I want to see if you can succeed. And that's why I keep doing these videos where, I'm talking about what's going on in my life and what's going on in my world and what my story is. But when you're selling something, I come from a sales background. I ran car dealerships before I got into eBay. And it's all about the story. If someone can't touch it, they can't feel it, they've got to have something they can believe in. And, on eBay, you've got feedback, but you also have that area on your store where you can tell them your story. And that gets people. And make sure that everyone that you come in contact with, they know your story and what you're trying to accomplish. I know that it's hard to understand a lot of times what your story is. But I think that's the first step to really taking your business to the next level. I think we all start out by selling, picking, doing business, whatever you want to call it, as just saying, hey, this may be something that'll work. But at some point, you decide that I want to do this. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to become. This is where I want to go. I want to put all my effort into it. And there's a reason you want to do that. And that's your story. But if you don't tell people, they don't know and they can't get behind you. So just make sure you're always telling your story. If you're selling a shirt, that shirt has a story, especially on vintage stuff or antique stuff or collectible stuff. The more of that story that you can get to the customer, the more money you can get for it. If you just, a lot of our pictures, we were selling, we just took a pic, we just scanned the fronts. And a lot of people wanted to know what was on the back. And when we first started, we just scanned the front of the picture because that's what we figured people were buying, was the front of the picture. But as we got further along and we got into more collectors and more people who are doing this as a hobby, or some of them, heck, are super wealthy and they do this as huge collections. They want to know what the story on the back is. What's it say back there? Does it have somebody's name? Does it say where it was taken? Does it say the year that it was taken? And once we started putting scan the fronts and the backs of the photographs and putting them in there, we saw a marketed difference because people could see the story. And, I don't care if you're selling coffee mugs or whatever, it's all got a story, and that adds value. And the more value you can add, the more money you can put in your pocket. All right, a couple more questions here coming in, and then I'm going to call it quits, I think. Casey asks, do you do all your own sourcing? Yes, I do all of the sourcing. I buy everything myself. I have a VA who, if you guys have seen my computer program with the Christmas list, the top hot Christmas toys or whatever I called it, my VA does lists like that for different products. Like I have one for Transformers, I have one for Paw Patrol, I have one for Barbie, I have one for Frozen. And I run those lists through my computer program and it tells me which ones are profitable. And then I have a list that I go out and I just buy. And we buy a ton of our pictures off of eBay. Our photographs, we buy huge lots on eBay and then break them up and sell them individually. I go to auctions, I go to estate sales, I do all my sourcing myself. Olivia does a little bit, but I do most of it. Did you take any classes to learn this business when you were getting started, or did you learn as you went? If you did take classes, which ones? Thanks, Dallas. I took the only class that was available to me. I took one. Let me take that back. I took one class when I first started. Me and Olivia just got married, and we started. We bought our first house, and we needed to fill it up with stuff. And when I was a kid, my dad would take us to auctions. They weren't like estate auctions; they were like furniture auctions and different stuff, And I remembered that. And I saw in the newspaper that they're having an estate sale about 20 miles from where we lived, a state auction. And I didn't really even have a clue what it was. And so me and Olivia went on a Saturday and we bought a bunch of crap, bunch of garbage. And but it was cheap, you know. You could buy a whole table of stuff for $1, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it all." Well, we filled up the car and stuff, and we went a couple of different times. And the auctioneer at second or third one we went to said that he was holding a eBay class, and so we had never sold on eBay or anything. So I was like, well, let's go to this class. And it was about a 75-year-old woman, and she held this class and kind of just basically told you how to list stuff, told you how to take pictures, you know, stuff that we're really now on YouTube. There's like 50 videos on everything that she talked about. But so we went home and we started listing some of that stuff we bought at the auctions. And it wasn't really a class on about, you know, what to buy or how to buy. It was more about, you know, how to list it. And just trial and error. You know, I was in the car business, and I used to go to car auctions, and there was an old car guy who was really good. And he told me one time that if you had to pay, you know, $100 more to buy a car from a guy that he knew what he was doing, he would pay more. He would pay $100 more for the education. And I kind of took that same adage. I found a couple guys who were at auctions who I knew were very good at their antiques dealers, but I would try, you know, stuff that they were bidding on. I'd bid $5 more than them. And I didn't make a lot of money doing it that way, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot about glassware, and I learned a lot about dishes. And over the course of about a year, I had enough knowledge where I felt like I was at least figuring it out. And there wasn't any YouTube or, you know, pickers making videos. And so I just kind of figured it out. And before long, I was making more selling on eBay than I was at my job. And I got diagnosed with sleep apnea, and I had to have my tonsils removed, and I was out of work for about 3 weeks. And you know, I was in bed for about a week of that. And then the other 2 weeks, I was going to auctions like every day. And at the end of the 2 weeks, I had made a significant amount of money. And I just said, Olivia, this is what we're going to do. And she's like, yeah, I agree. And she had her job, so it wasn't like we were going to be hurting for money if we failed. And that was about 9 years ago. And so I learned all I could about auctions and all that type of stuff. And then when we left Michigan and moved to Texas, there wasn't any auctions. And I had to learn about estate sales and thrift stores and all that type of stuff, garage sales. And I'd never done any of that when I was in Michigan. I made my living off of auctions. And so it was like starting over. And at least I had enough knowledge where I could go into a thrift store and knew what I was doing. But about that same time, I started watching some YouTube videos. I guess it was about a year after we moved here, I started watching some YouTube videos. And there was people who were doing it, you know, doing the same thing I was doing, thrift stores and stuff like that. And there's people doing auctions and different stuff. And American Pickers was coming out, and, you know, it started to get trendy. And, you know, it just kept growing. And we got to a point where with eBay, you just can't list anymore. You can't buy anymore. You can't do anymore. I mean, we got to about, I think our ceiling was about $12,000. We'd sell about $12,000, and we just couldn't sell anymore. We couldn't list anymore. Couldn't buy anymore. And so I started trying to figure out other things that we could do to, you know, make money. And that's really how I got into Amazon FBA. And I haven't run into that ceiling yet with Amazon FBA. Um, I feel like the only ceiling I have is the amount of stuff that I can buy. And I think that you have so many different opportunities with Amazon FBA that you don't have with eBay, because you don't have to ship, you don't have to package, you don't have to handle customer service, you don't have to do any of that stuff. And all you got to do is figure out things that you can buy. What can I bundle? What can I put together that'll make a great product for someone else? Or what can I, whatever. I don't care if it's Christmas stockings. Maybe you want to put together Christmas stockings, or grab bags, or whatever. There's always new ideas that you can come up with, and you can try them. You can send 10 into Amazon. If they fail, well, they fail. You're out $150 or whatever it costs you to do. But if they succeed, then you found something, and you can really start growing upon it. And you do what I talked about, building a story and creating a Facebook page and doing advertising and doing all that type of stuff. And then you've got a product, and then you go on and you find something else. You go find something else. And before long, you've got 20, 30, 40, 50 products to go along with the stuff that you're finding at, thrift stores, or you're finding at Walmart, Kmart, wherever you're shopping. And before long, you're really growing. And, now we're at a point where, we're going to do $500,000 between eBay and Amazon this year. And I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. And I don't feel like I even scratched the surface. When my parents were here over Thanksgiving, they're like, y'all work so hard. I don't understand, you could get a job and you wouldn't have to work this hard. And I was like, it's not about that. I don't feel like I'm working hard at all. I feel like I'm a lazy bastard a lot of the times, because I'm not working as hard as I possibly could. And I think if I really put all my effort and energy into it, I mean, the sky's the limit. I could really go far. But, I've got other things that I enjoy doing, like, the Facebook page and YouTube, and, talking to some people that I've met off of YouTube and Facebook, and, all that type of stuff. But I think if I put 100% effort into something, it's just amazing the amount of stuff you can go, because you're not limited by how much stuff you can ship. You're not limited by anything with Amazon FBA, and you can really just, sky's the limit. With eBay, the problem with eBay is that, there's a lot of guys who can go out there and they can do $10,000, $15,000 in a month, but they've ran their whole area dry of all the stuff that they can buy. With Amazon, if I run, I got about a 50-mile radius that I hit on a week. If I run dry in that area, I go out another 50 miles and I can find more stuff. And, if I hit that area dry, I'll go out another 50 miles. And by that time, the first 50 miles is all full again. So I go back and I'm fill up again. It's just amazing the opportunities that are out there. And I think that you don't have to take classes. You don't have to, you don't have to watch my YouTube videos. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I think if you just go out there and put yourself in it, commit 100%, saying, I need to figure this out. If it's private label you want to do, I'm sure that I know there's people that putting together private label courses for, $4,000 or $5,000 or whatever. Yeah, you could spend it. It's going to speed up your learning curve, but you can also just throw yourself in it and figure it out. One thing that I think that I've slacked on is eBay Europe. We got all approved, we got our VAT tax, we got everything all done. And then when it came to actually doing it, I was like, I got so much going on here, and and that's a whole other thing. And I think there's huge opportunities in the eBay Europe. I think FBA and in Europe. I think there's huge opportunities FBA in Canada, Japan, Australia. It's just amazing the opportunities that are out there, but you just got to go out there and do it. All right, I'm kind of rambling like big time here. I'm in an hour and a half now. Stanley Joe, last question I think here. I'll refresh one more time, but I think that was it. How did you go about hiring employees? Local Ad, CareerBuilder, Monster. When listing on eBay, to use a program for them to list into so that you can approve listings before they go live, or you just let them go into your account? Thanks. Any advice? Ahead of time. Stanley Joe, we hired the girl that I have working for me out at the shop. She does basically just Amazon FBA stuff. She packages and ships FBA, takes stickers off, multi-packs, bundles, does all that type of stuff. And that's a full-time job, not full-time, part-time, full-time job. And My brother-in-law does all the pictures, and he does all the listings and all the shipping and all that type of stuff. Olivia scans all the pictures at the shop. He comes out once a week and picks up the pictures. We scan them into a Dropbox, and he picks them up, takes them out to his house, and he lists them on eBay, and we pay him per listing. The girl we hired, I think we hired her off of like a Career Builder. I think is where we got her. My VA does some listings for us on other websites, Love and Maine, and a couple different niche sites that are for little products that we sell. But she does that all through a flat file. So she just puts it into a Google Doc, and I have the Google Doc all set up, and then I go in and check it, and then when I download it, it's all set up and ready to go. I think some of the biggest, things that aren't being used right now on eBay is file exchange on eBay. I think that's huge, and I don't think enough people use it. If you're really thinking about getting big onto eBay, I would definitely look at file exchange. We do use listing software. We use InkFrog. My brother-in-law, that's what he uses. And we use it out at the shop when we list stuff too. And I really like InkFrog. But I've used pretty much all of them out there. I've used eBay's Blackthorn. I've used Turbo Lister. I've used Octavia. I've used InkFrog, Listing Builder. I think I've used about everything out there. But I like InkFrog. It's the easiest for us for what we do. But I would definitely look at file exchange if you're thinking about getting bigger into eBay, because I think file exchange is something that a lot of people don't utilize, and I think it's a huge opportunity. I think file exchange is probably the most underutilized thing on eBay right now. Sherry asks, when telling stories, Spice Road Jams, do you keep them all separate with your social media? Yeah, we have different Facebook accounts. I think I have like 14 Facebook pages, something like that. Fan pages. I don't set up groups just because it's harder to manage. I use I can't remember the name of the software, but I schedule all my listings. That's something else that my VA does, is she goes in and I'll sit down, tell her, I'll type out every night the stuff that she needs to do that night, and it'll be like, I need a good article on barbecue championships in, wherever. And she'll go out and search the web and find it, and then she'll schedule it through. God damn it! I can't remember the name of the software we use, but I've got it here. I just can't get to it right now. I'll post it on Facebook, but yeah, you definitely want to keep them separate. I mean, you want to have all your little niches, and they don't have to be the same. They don't have my photo business. They don't have anything in common with people who are buying Spice Rub. So I need two separate accounts. I probably don't do as well on the photo business just because kind of just does itself. We've got probably 30 or 40 people. We've got advertising agents, huge collectors who buy from us every day. I mean, just, the same people are coming back over and over and over. But I need to get better at that. And that's one of my things that I want to do in the first of the year, is really utilize what we've set up on Facebook, on our East Texas State Photos Facebook page, and really start doing that right. I haven't been. I've been slacking and doing a crappy job, but that's one thing in the first of the year that I want to try to do better. All right, let's check YouTube and make sure we don't have any other comments here. I kind of went like 39 minutes longer than I wanted to, but that's all right. Y'all don't mind, do you? All right. Oh, Cherry Vintage. Good to see you, Cherry. It's interesting that you say tell your story on eBay. Years ago, eBay did want us to write content in the listings as more keywords and listings help to show higher on Google, and writing about why the vintage item was an asset to have you in your wardrobe. Now eBay states to keep your listing short, just bullet points, facts, and conditions. Keeping it concise helps your Cassini rank look better and mobile. According to eBay, eBay now has taken away the seller's My Page, which was the place sellers could tell their story, post photos of their story, and I still love eBay, but I really don't think eBay wants us to tell our story anymore. It seems to me that eBay is not encouraging that anymore. Well, I don't disagree with you there, but there's other ways you can tell your story. You get every customer that buys something from you, you have their email address, and you can easily refer them to your Facebook page. Get them there. We put a little card in everything that we send out, every photograph we send out, encouraging people to go to our Facebook page where we have exclusive offers. That's one thing that maybe eBay's doing that. I know that on your store page, you can still have a little bit of story, and I don't know. But I think stories are important. I think stories are the only thing that keeps us different from everyone else is our story. And if you can't get your story to the customer, then you're just like everybody else. And if you're just like everybody else, then the only thing that can make you better is your price. And if it comes down to price, there's always someone that's going to be better priced. There's always someone that's going to be able to take less margin. There's always going to be someone that's going to be able to, find it cheaper. And if it comes to just price, then eBay's lost what they have. eBay's lost what they have. They've built an entire community based on nothing but price, and so is Walmart. But I'm not going to go to Walmart and expect to buy a vintage piece of clothing like you sell, Cherry. But if eBay loses that, then they've lost a lot. And that's one of the main reasons that we're selling we're doing a lot on 11 Main, because they're really encouraging the story. And I think that 11 Main at some point may be that main competition for eBay. It's not now, but I think the story is important. I think the story is the most important thing that we have. And if you give away the story part of whatever you're doing, and it becomes just about waistline and color and size, and not about who's selling it and why they're selling it and what it means to them and where it came from, then vintage stuff is no longer important. And you can go into any store and buy a brand new shirt off the rack. The thing that makes eBay different is the vintage stuff, the stuff that's different. And if eBay loses that, then I think they've lost everything. Whenever I ask the question about creating competition for yourself, people tend to get butt hurt, I don't know, and immediately offensive. I did some simple math the other day about price dropping on products from sharing, and turned out the potential loss is staggering, not to mention creating competition for yourself at your local stores. The majority of people helping other sellers are selling a product or service. Theoretical question here: would you continue helping others on YouTube if it cost you $20,000 plus in profit every year? Also, you're creating, adapting, evolving competition, not just finding a new product, which obviously we will be forced to do. Yeah, I'm not afraid. I think that people get all bent out of shape, If you sell something that's different, yes, if your whole business plan is based on Walmart, where I'm going to sell the exact same thing as Target, but my only difference is going to be price, then yeah, you probably don't want to go on YouTube and, tell people what you're doing. But if your business plan is, I'm going to find stuff that's cool, I'm going to find stuff that's different that no other one else can find, and I'm going to bring it to a market like eBay or 11 Main or your own website and sell it, you're not hurting yourself by going on YouTube and saying, hey, look at this cool 18th century Chinese vase. Go to your thrift store and find one. You know why? Because there's not one at their thrift store. You've got the only one that's on eBay. You're not hurting your competition if you come out and say that. And if you think you're costing yourself thousands of dollars by going on YouTube and making videos, the only reason you're costing yourself $20,000 is because of the hours it takes to make the videos. I don't sell any products. I don't have a ebook or a whatever, and I don't make that many videos on YouTube. I make videos for people who want to follow me and my story on Facebook. And eventually I might come out with a product. I think that the deal that I'm using for my Amazon with the spreadsheet, I think that's a great product, and I'll probably bring that to the marketplace at some point. But I'm not going to hawk my products everywhere I go. I don't have a training course on hawking. I don't have a ebook or a Amazon book or a training seminar or anything like that. I make videos for the people on my Facebook page who enjoy listening to me rant, who like the way I talk, like the way I think. And if you don't, well, then you're probably not on my Facebook page. And if you are and you don't like those things, you're probably not my competition, because you're spending way too much time worrying about what I'm doing and not enough time worrying about what you're doing. And if you figure out what you're doing, no one else is going to get in your way. If you figure out a way to do it different than everyone else, those are the people who get successful. Those are the people who make money. It's not the guy who keeps chasing whatever Raking Profit's doing. It's not the guy who's always chasing what Cody Hawk's doing. Those guys aren't getting rich. Those guys are chasing the ball. They're not figuring out what's next. The guys who are figuring out what's next are the guys who are actually doing it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to actually do it. I'm not trying to hawk anything to you. And I'm not afraid of no competition. And yeah, if it costs me $20,000 a year because I make YouTube videos or I have a Facebook page, I would continue to make YouTube videos and a Facebook page, because it's not making me $20,000 less. I'm not seeing those results because I'm not chasing that same ball everyone else is. Yeah, I like watching Raking Profit videos. Yeah, I like watching Cody Hawk videos. Yeah, I like watching, whoever the hot picker of the time is. I like watching those videos, but I don't go out and do exactly what they're doing. Yeah, it may give me an idea. Or maybe I go into a thrift store, if I see a tweed jacket, a Harris tweed jacket, I might look at it. I might, see if it's different somehow or what's cool about it. But I'm probably not going to buy it and go and throw it on eBay and make, the money. I'm probably going to just keep going. And I'm going to try to find my own thing. And, I come out on YouTube. I come out on Facebook. I post all this stuff. I post a video a day on my Facebook page. I'm not worried about people. If people want to look in what's in the back of my truck, they can figure out exactly what I'm buying. I'm not worried about it. You know why? Because I'm going to get it there first. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to get ahead of my competition. I'm not worried about what Joe Bob's doing. I'm worried about what I'm doing. And if you're worrying about what Joe Bob's doing, or if I should make this video or I shouldn't make this video, don't make it. It's that simple. Worry about what you're doing. Don't chase everyone else. If someone posts those big hug mugs. You remember those big hug mugs that were on, the HBO show or whatever, and they were selling for $50, $75, and then someone posted them on Facebook, and someone posted them here, and the next thing you know, they're $10. Well, if I spent all my time going and chasing the big hug mugs as soon as I saw it on Facebook or on YouTube, I wasted hours going to find 2 mugs that I may have found at a thrift store that I may have been able to sell for $20. It's a lot easier for me to go and try to find my own direction. Go out and try to find a spice rub, or go out and try to find a jam or a jelly, or go to find, a different product, or figure out a way I can bundle up, some healthy snacks for people who are getting ready for New Year's resolution, or figure out a way I can bundle up stuff for school supplies. Those things make me money, not going and chasing Harris Tweed or going and chasing a coffee mug, And I think most people who watch my videos and do what I'm doing and enjoy my Facebook page understand that about me, and that's why they continue to watch. And if they don't, and they just watch because they want to copy what I'm doing, well, I'm well ahead of them, and they can copy me all they want. But by the time they get their stuff into the warehouse, I'm gone. I'm done. It's over with. I'm on to something else. And that's just my 2 thoughts on it. I think that's it, guys. I don't have anything else to say. I've rambled on for about 1 hour and 50 minutes when it was supposed to be about an hour long. I hope you enjoyed it. I kind of put my heart out there and told you exactly how I feel on some products and some different stuff. But if you don't get anything else from this, just remember 2 things. First off, don't follow the herd. The herd is going to take you off the cliff. Go your own direction. Get your own ideas, Yeah, take my ideas and say, hey, that's a good idea. How can I improve it? Take my idea and say, that's a good idea. How can I apply it to this? But if you're just going to chase what everybody else is doing, you're not going to get anywhere. The guy who gets to the guy who gets rich, the guy who gets to the next level, they're the guys who do something different. The guys who keep doing the same things, the only way you're going to get rich is to sell it cheaper and in higher volume. How's Walmart work out? They weren't the first to sell stuff in a big box store. They're the ones that sell it the cheapest. They sell it the highest volume. That's how they make their money. If you want to be that guy, well, good for you. You got to have big capital. You got to have big warehouses, but find your own way. And the other part of it, tell your story. Get your story out there so people can really relate to what you're trying to accomplish. If they relate to you, they'll buy your products. If they like you, they'll buy your products. I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please go over to my Facebook page, Picking Live. Check me out over there. And until next time, guys, thanks a lot. Have a great night.